The day I quit drinking, my life changed forever. So I've never been a crazy avid drinker or anything like that. There were times where friends and I would get together and we would drink. And especially in college, I would get invited to a lot more parties, go out to bars, do things like that. But I was never crazy into the bar scene, and I actually kind of stayed away from it as much as possible, just because genuinely I didn't really like the feeling of going to a bar. But again, when hanging out with friends and being in social settings, if everyone else was drinking, I probably was too. And this lifestyle would last for a couple of years in my early 20s. I had noticed something about myself whenever I drank, and that was that my hangovers were like absurdly terrible. Compared to everyone around me, I was having a tough time waking up in the morning or getting out of bed, and I always just woke up feeling terrible. And even though this was a common issue for me, there are actually many different factors that played into me not really wanting to partake in drinking anymore. Two of them were basically just having a lot of anxiety after drinking, people wanting to start fights in the bar, but the main thing was something that had happened last year that I'll share with you guys after I talk about the anxiety and the bar fights. Never really struggled with anxiety growing up as a kid. I never really felt anxious about anything. I've never been known to have anxiety. But when I drank, I would have terrible anxiety the next morning. And sometimes even that night if I stayed up too late. I would constantly think about what I might have said to somebody, and the way I felt the next day was just completely awful. The having that type of anxiety, I guess they call it hangxiety, is one of the worst feelings that you can have as a person. Not feeling completely in control of your body while you're out doing stuff with your friends is such an odd experience, and that's another thing I just never want to go through again. I would genuinely spend the next couple of days thinking about my actions or the things I said or did, knowing I never did anything wrong, but still having that weird anxious feeling, which I had never really felt outside of drinking. Another thing I noticed was a lot of the people I was with would seem to get kind of angry when they would drink or have more aggression about things. So if someone would actually bump into them, it would start kind of like a commotion in the bar. And it would become this unnecessary thing where they're starting fights and it's becoming this big thing in the bar and all the attention is on us. And it just really just ruined my time. And even though those things really sucked, it wasn't even up until last year that I decided to finally quit drinking. A couple of my closest friends and I went out to a brewery. We actually ended up having a really great night. We played games there, hung out, just talked, and caught up on life basically. Everyone was really having a great time, like I said. Everyone stayed the night at my place, and when we woke up, everyone felt great. And that was except for me. I actually woke up having the worst hangover of my life and throwing up for about 2 or 3 hours in the morning and just feeling absolutely terrible. I was trying to drag myself out of bed, and I couldn't even entertain the guests that I had over at my house. For a lot of you, this is probably pretty normal when you have 10 plus drinks or something like that at a bar, but in my case, I had 2 beers at a brewery. And like I said, my friends were staying the night at my house, and it was a Sunday now, so they all had to go back that day. And I spent the entire Sunday just laying in bed and feeling horrible while they hung out together in my living room. And if you don't know this about me, I live quite far away from my friends, so they made the trip out to see me, and I feel like I really just missed out on a great opportunity to spend time with them, and I decided I was not going to let that happen again. So from there on out, I never scheduled plans to go out and get drinks with friends anymore. I would have the occasional drink here and there, and still do, but for the most part, I completely quit alcohol. And still to this day, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And I want to share with you guys some of the ways how. One of the ways was just genuinely getting my time back. I'm a little bit older now, I'm turning 24 soon. I've been working a 9 to 5 for a while, and I really don't have that much free time anymore. So when I have my free time, I'm not spending it out with friends drinking anymore. Instead, I'm doing things I actually really enjoy doing. And I've picked up new hobbies because of this. More creative on the weekends. I'll spend time drawing or creating art, spend time listening to music, hanging out with friends just in different settings, spending more time with family, and doing things at home. And I've come to really love this. It genuinely feels nice to be able to have that time on the weekend to just relax and spend on myself. Some days I'll even go to the gym, which is like an extra added bonus for me of just feeling good about myself instead of horribly indulging in alcohol and just waking up feeling terrible for the entire weekend. I mean, I was losing out on entire Sundays and Saturdays before when I would go out drinking the night before, and that feeling is just horrible. So it feels great to finally have my weekends back and to be myself again. The second way it really improved my life was by eliminating that feeling of having terrible anxiety. That was just a feeling I just couldn't live with anymore. Again, like I said, I would wake up just feeling absolutely horrible about the night before, knowing that nothing wrong happened, but just still waking up with that terrible anxiety. And that was a feeling I just never had before drinking. So it was finally nice to just eliminate that from my life. I still have the normal anxieties that most people do from day to day, just about life in general, but I'm no longer worried about the things I said or the actions of my friends. I don't feel responsible for the actions of my friends when we're out drinking, and I'm just finally back on my own headspace, feeling in control of my life completely. Moving on to the third reason, I'd say this is probably the most important one for me, and probably for a lot of people. Now I feel healthier and more motivated than I ever have in my life. Like I said, when I was drinking, I would just wake up feeling absolutely awful, and it would kind of ruin my entire weekend. If I went out on a Friday night, sometimes it would take me all the way until Sunday to recover. I wasn't able to do anything Saturday, and I would just really have a tough time living with that and living with the regret of drinking the night before, and it would just totally throw me in a terrible headspace. And even when I did finally get over the physical sickness of having a hangover, I would still have a ton of regret from even going out in the first place. But I don't live with that anymore. I get to just truly enjoy my time for myself, come up with my own passions and creativities and things I really, really want to do in life. The things I used to push away and not really want to do, I do now. I feel like I can go for anything. I feel like I can accomplish a lot more things. I feel like I get way more done around my house and just in general. My productivity at work has increased. There's just a plethora of things in my life that have truly increased as a result of me not drinking alcohol anymore. Aside from those three things, I just feel a lot more free in my life. And again, it's not like anything crazy happened. Nothing traumatic really happened. No terrible experiences, I would say. But there were just multiple different events, the way I was feeling after drinking, that really made me just decide it was time to just be done with it. It's not even that I was drinking that much or anything like that either. It was just some of the times I was just feeling horrible, and I just knew I needed to be done with it. I think this goes for a lot of different habits that people pick up, or a lot of different things that people do. It's usually just to be in a social setting or to kind of fit in, and drinking is definitely one of those things. Especially if you're in college or, maybe going into college or fresh out. A lot of the events that you're going to or a lot of the social settings you're in is typically has to do with bars or drinking of some sorts. I do enjoy time to time going to a brewery to do things like trivia with friends, things like that I really do enjoy. And again, I'll have a beer or two there, and typically it's fine. But yeah, outside of that, I just really don't like to drink much anymore. I've kind of replaced it with just being in the gym and doing things that are more positive in my life. And again, aside from the negative effects that I felt from alcohol in general or just drinking or hangovers, it did really free up my time now that I'm not going out and doing things like that. Just spending my time doing what I like to do. So I hope this video can help someone out there today that's maybe struggling with it or just kind of in the same area that I was, the same rut that I was in, where it becomes a big social setting thing and you just want to kick it out. You just want to be done with it. And I just want to end off this video by just thanking all of my subscribers, people watch my videos. I really do thank you guys. This community has been incredible. It's been so much fun to be a part of, whether it's joining live streams and playing on live streams or just talking to you guys in the comments. I really appreciate everyone's support and love. And last thing, I also want to let you guys know, I'm accepting questions in my inbox at jquazachannel@gmail.com. So thank you. Send me some questions. I can't wait to hear from you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.